Blessed to be with you. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Of course, earlier we were talking about Andrew McCabe, who says that the words coup and treason do not apply to him trying to remove the president of the United States.
Incapacitated and therefore should not serve in the White House?
That was not my role, Willie.
Did Rod Rosenstein see it that way?
Rod didn't specify that to me in those conversations. My focus was on what we needed to do as the investigators, right? The issue that I was grappling with was not whether the president is removed, whether he's incapacitated, capable of doing his job. The issue for me to determine was whether or not he should be investigated, and that's the decision I made.
What was the tone of the conversation? What were you all feeling emotionally when this came up? I mean, I've heard it discussed in humor. I've heard it discussed. I mean, just this concept has come up at dinner tables in my life or on this set.
On the 25th Amendment, yeah, and you bring it up every day.
Very emotionally.
Yes.
And so I'm just wondering.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
What the context of the conversation was in terms of how everybody was feeling emotional. Was it fear? Was it shock? Were you joking? What are some of the other ways to describe how this came up?
Well, there wasn't a lot of humor in any of those conversations, right? It was an incredibly intense period. We were struggling with things that none of us had ever confronted or thought about before. And the conversations were wide-ranging, to the point of being hard to follow. The Deputy Attorney General was emotional. He was kind of oftentimes pacing around the room, speaking very rapidly, jumping from topic to topic. It was just an incredibly trying time. And I will say this for the Deputy Attorney General. At the end of that process, he made a decision that could rightly be the one that preserved forever our ability to finally understand what is at the heart of all these mysteries.
There's nothing there. By the way, that is Andrew McCabe from Morning Joe. Good morning. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio, taking your phone calls about the issues that matter to you. And, of course, none bigger today, every day, than the road rage. Please be very careful when we're looking at people that are out in the inclement weather, not behaving appropriately. From Victor Davis Hanson, the illegal effort to destroy the 2016 Trump campaign by Hillary Clinton's campaign's use of funds to create, disseminate among the court, the media, and then salt among high Obama officials, a fabricated opposition smear dossier failed. So the second special prosecutor phase of the coup, to abort the Trump presidency, failed. There are many elements to what in time likely will become recognized as the greatest scandal in American political history, marking the first occasion in which the U.S. government bureaucrats sought to overturn an election and to remove a sitting U.S. president. Victor Davis Hanson writing about that. No palace coup can take place without the perception of popular anger at the president. The deep state by nature is cowardly. It does not move unless it feels it can disguise its subterranean efforts, or that, if revealed, those efforts will be seen as popular and necessary, as expressed in the tell-all book titles such as Fired FBI Directors James Comey's Higher Loyalty or Disgraced Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe's psychodramatic The Threat. Liberty Linda, good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Good morning, Kevin. About the lady that emailed you, I second what security guard Mike said. The Miller militia are great people that loves our country. They want the best for the Treasure Valley. Kevin, look, we have serious things going on in our country. We have someone running for office that wants to transform our country. Many want to change what our founding fathers gave us. There are important things that are going on today in our nation that we have to talk about. And most people that call into your show for the first time, they love your show because these are the things that are part of our heart. What our founding fathers gave us, the way people are trying to make our country a socialistic country. And so these are things, not bad, but good things. Because out of the people that call you, I think almost all of them call out of love for our country. So that's what I feel. And so that's my answer to that girl that emailed this morning.
Well, and for people that aren't that haven't been tuning in since 6 a.m., Liberty Linda, we had somebody say that we do good things, but the people that call into the show are hateful and lies, and why don't we want big government? And, I think everybody would want to take care of everyone. We just can't afford it. We can't afford a lot of things, and most of us are being realistic as opposed to the pie in the sky that we have from Costco Cortez and others.
Absolutely. And your show is open. Anyone can call into your show. And, I know that people call in and they do get negative. You don't want to talk to those type of people, because you have to have it uplifting in regard to our country. So anyway, that's why I know the people that call into you that I know for the first time absolutely love your show, because you do talk about the issues of today. That, we love our country, we want to save our country. And, that's the type of things that we talk about. So, anyway, all I can say, Kevin, is keep up the good work. We have things going on that's absolutely unbelievable in our country, bad things toward our wonderful president. Kevin, we can see it all across the board. I don't care who you are in our country. If you're a citizen here, he has done good things for everyone. And so it upsets us that we have people that are trying to take him out, literally.
Indeed, the greatest scandal in American political history. Liberty Linda, thank you for the call.
Oh, thank you, Kevin, for all you do. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And again, as we continue on in winter, and by the way, I'm happy that it's winter. Gosh, we're so blessed here in Idaho that we have 40 and 50-degree days, and we're thinking, spring is just around the corner. And I know the people that love to hunt, to fish, to hike, and all those sorts of things, just like our friend Ray Amaya, those 18-hour days of sunshine and happiness are just around the corner. But it's nice to kind of earn it a little and not worry about the snowpack. In other words, the water for the lawns in the summer, that we're getting some snow. But please be very careful. If you have a road report, would love to hear from you. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And the stoplights, don't run them today. As I said earlier, I almost got T-boned. It was a fun day to start the morning because somebody decided they were not going to use their brakes. Let's go to the phones. And by the way, people driving truck, man, I know I don't have to tell you guys to be careful. Doug in Mountain Home, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, Doug.
Hello. How are you? And I will say the same thing. Thank you for being on the air. God bless you. And if I say things that I ain't supposed to be, I'm not elegant. I'm sorry. So, anyway, Kevin, you think they're going to get anything done with these guys?
I think it all comes down to the offensive line. We were talking about that with that young lady from the RNC last week, Cassie Smedley. The president can only do so much, but where's his backup? Where are the people saying, McCabe, you need to be prosecuted. McCabe, you need to get the Mike Flynn treatment. Why does it only work one way when we have people that prosecute Republicans, yet the Democrats run wild and free?
I don't understand it either, Kevin. I really don't. But you hit it right on the head. They do. Just look what happened when the last 10 years ago when what's his name started. I don't even like using his name. But yeah, I don't get it either. I don't know what they consider treason, whether it's got to be something with a foreign country or something. But as far as I'm concerned, with all the evidence they have of them, trying to oust this president out of his office with all the lies and the corruption that they got, it's got to be somewhere around treason, don't it?
I would agree. It is treasonous. And it's a coup, and it's the greatest scandal in our country's history, Doug. And where are the Republicans, besides Lindsey Graham, holding McCabe responsible?
I know. That's what I say, too. Where's our 3 Republicans that are in office here? And the guy yesterday, I don't know who it was, hit it right on the head. These guys that were in office, Ryan, what's his name? Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, he's still in there. But them guys, I mean, they can see the writing on the wall, so they just freaking run from it and get out and get their pension. I think them guys, they don't need pensions. They've made enough money by robbing us that they ought to they need their pensions taken away. But the problem of it is when you got lawmakers that make the laws and set their own wages, right there's the starting of freaking treason. Anyway, Kevin, keep up the good work. And that I didn't catch the name of that one when I just turned the radio on, but I thought you said Patriot Ray. Was I right?
Yes, Patriot Ray was detained by the Secret Service. Yes,
a mouthful. He said a mouthful, Ray. Kevin. He said a mouthful, and he said it right. I just don't have the elegance to say that kind of stuff. I wish I did, but I don't. I'm more corrosive around the edge because I hate them. And I know I'm not supposed to. God, our Lord tells me not to, but Kevin, I hate them.
Well, look, your corrosiveness is always welcome here, and elegance is overrated. God bless you, Doug.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Join the conversation now.
He made it quite clear that he wanted me gone before I could retire. I believe I was fired because I opened a case against the President of the United States.
Right, with nothing. So you get the boot, McCabe. We're going in a different direction. Let's go to Bill in Caldwell with Kevin Miller on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, sir. I only have a few minutes, but I'm a peace officer. I'll be retiring here next week, actually. My perspective on this whole issue is Mr. McCabe is dead wrong in what he's doing. His job is not to determine who he should investigate. He's a peace officer. He's supposed to take the cases that are assigned to him. What he has done is absolutely treasonous. I don't have the luxury of choosing who my boss is. The people elect my boss. And we have a saying at the sheriff's office, you ride for the brand. If you don't like the boss that you have to work for, then you should leave. That's the bottom line. You don't get to choose who you work for. Your job is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and to do your job as a peace officer.
781.
Bill, thank you, and thank you for your service. God bless you in your retirement, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's what we love. We love our men and women of law enforcement and their families that keep us safe. 580-5436, 580-KIDO, and just like Bill, we ride for the brand here at old KIDO Talk Radio. Coming up next, McCabe continues to whine. Let's talk a little bit about public safety today, aggressive driving. We don't have to worry about the people that listen to our great station. It's just the people that listen to those other stations that we should be worried about. And if you have an accident, if you have an area that we should avoid, I'd love to hear from you. You're listening to Kevin Miller, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. And how about this? A victory for Governor Little, the Idaho State Police, and Kevin Miller. Did you hear about this? The hemp truck or the marijuana truck or whatever truck was hauling in that 6,700 pounds of hemp or marijuana. Take your pick. Federal judge says, you're not the boss of me. And despite the legal wranglings from the company, a federal judge Tuesday denied a Colorado company's request for a preliminary injunction to force ISP to release a semi-trailer that it says is filled with industrial hemp. Hemp is illegal here in Idaho. They say it's deteriorating and losing value. Well, don't let a good weed go to waste, everybody. Big Sky Scientific sued ISP after the truck was seized by the police on January 24th, arguing that hemp was legalized in the new farm bill and transporting it as interstate commerce. There we go, back and forth. So ISP said it's not hemp, it's marijuana, it's illegal. And even if it was hemp, it's illegal here in the state of Idaho, right? Idaho law trumps the Colorado law in Idaho. It only makes sense. Well, now a federal judge has agreed. Now we have people in the legislature, and there's a lot of bills going up. Coming up, Dr. Karfeld's going to join us. We're going to talk a little bit about a bill that could get rid of naturopaths, could get rid of people that use nature's medicines to make things better. What are they thinking in Boise? And I know we have a lot of good legislators, And Representative Giddings, we need to get her on and others. But, the idea that we're going to just eliminate people's ability to go to the doctor of their choice is just certainly crazy. But back to this thing, involving hemp. Hemp is illegal. I think hemp will stay illegal. And then you have people in the legislature wanting to legalize the hemp and saying you can make $30 or $40 or $50,000 an acre. I know we have a lot of people that work in the dirt. Well, probably not today. Not a lot of farming going on today. But maybe you're a rancher. Maybe you got the animals. Maybe you got the livestock. Maybe you're a dairy farmer. And you think to yourself, $20, $30, $40,000 an acre, I'll be a gazillionaire growing hemp. And my friends, just like we talked about with Prop 2, if something is too good to be true, it usually is, right? So you can't tell me that all of a sudden, if hemp is so profitable, everybody would be making it and everybody would be a gazillionaire. I just can't see that happening. Can you? So that's one other issue. And we'll get back to Andrew McCabe and others and talking about safe driving here. By the way, don't let me have all the fun. You can join the conversation now at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Why don't we do this? Let's be top of mind. Let's get you to work safely and on time. KIDO Talk Radio.
7's Larry Gabbard.
Thank you, Larry. We appreciate it. And by the way, whether you've lived here or lived some other place, the rules of the road are very simple. You get it. We just worry about the nitwits that run the red lights, that speed, that get overly aggressive. The roads aren't the same, so please be very cautious and don't do what Kevin Miller did this morning, which is assume that people stop at red lights. If people continue to run them because they can't use their brakes because they're afraid, and T-bones happen. And I know Mr. Miniger loves this. He calls this the white gold from Miniger's Auto Body. But we would like you to get to work, to and from work safely. So, again, hemp not legal here in Idaho. I think it's a great thing. Coming up, this bill concerning where you can and can't be treated in the state of Idaho. This seems to happen every few years. We're trying to get rid of the doctors that use the supplements, that use nature's remedies, that use everything else, that are licensed by the state, that can do these sorts of things, that seek an alternative to Big Pharma. This is not new. We'll have that coming up. But Marsy's Law, it was passed by the Senate. I believe the House is considering it. And if it hasn't passed the House, this is an interesting bill as well. And originally I thought, look, this is a great bill, but our friends at the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance, conservative legislators, have said this is an intrusion concerning the right to keep and bear arms. Now, the proponents of Marsy's Law say, look, this is going to help victims and victims' rights and empower them. So when we have the criminals and all of a sudden the criminal wants to get paroled, the victims of the crime that the criminal committed, that was convicted of committing, will be able to get there and see something and say, look, I don't think that this person should be released. Right? Sounds good. And then we have other people saying, I don't know about that. It could be a backdoor way of a red flag law. Now, you know what a red flag law is when all of a sudden somebody says, hey, I think Kevin Miller's having a bad day, and Kevin Miller has said some things, so we need to go to Kevin Miller's house or Ray Amaya's house or whomever's house, maybe even Jeff the Suit's house, and take their guns until we can have a hearing to make sure they're good boys or good girls. Even the incoming attorney general for the Trump administration is in favor of red flag laws. We have this going on in the state of Oregon. Is that still going to make sure that people are safe? I don't know about that. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Quickly, we'll go to Blair in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Blair.
Hey, Kevin, I heard you mentioning Marsy's Law real quick, and I just wanted to clarify real quick. The dangerous piece in Marsy's Law is it has nothing to do with a convicted felon whatsoever. It has to do with the accused, and it gives the right to deny property, to deny Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Second Amendment rights to anyone who's just been merely accused, and it sets no limits on what the judge can do. It only uses the word reasonable. So whatever a judge decides is reasonable can be taken as action against someone who is merely accused. Now that violates the Fifth Amendment, which says that you cannot be deprived of liberty or property without a conviction, not just an accusation, but an actual conviction. That's one of the reasons why Marsy's Law is so dangerous. The other one is that they're trying to get it passed as an amendment to the Idaho Constitution, which means that regardless of what you think about it, it would then become constitutional law, and there would be no way to overturn it unless we were to pass another constitutional amendment at a subsequent point. So this is an incredibly, incredibly dangerous law that violates the basic natural rights that we all have. And everybody should be contacting their legislators in the House, because it's already passed the Senate. They need to contact their House representatives and tell them by no means should they ever pass this law. This is an incredibly dangerous wolf in sheep's clothing. Anyway, Kevin, thank you so much for all you do. Have a great day.
God bless, Blair. We appreciate it. Coming up next, the state takes a look at how you're treated for medicine and could determine whether or not you have a choice in how you're treated. That's next. You're listening to 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
And we're joined by our great friend, Dr. Michael Karfelt, the Karfelt Center. Dr. Karfelt, how are you today? Tough coming in. You wanted to get here this morning.
Yeah, even through all the snow, I struggled through. Yeah, there's some legislation going on that's strongly impacting my profession, and I really wanted to get the message out there and chat a little bit with my friend Kevin Miller here.
Sure, sir. And it seems every year or every couple of years we have this legislation that targets our ability to see the doctor of our choice here in Idaho. Can you give us the details, sir?
Yeah, so there's a bill out there. It's a House Bill 152 that's currently threatening your choice of natural health care. And in essence, what it is doing, it's taking my profession, naturopathic medicine, and it's putting it under the board of medicine, which in the medical doctor, it's a distinct profession compared to the naturopathic profession. Naturopathy we're all about preventing, we're all about using safer, more natural substances to heal the body, and to put that type of medicine and therapy underneath the medical board will obviously they don't understand the principles that naturopathy operates under.
Well, Dr. Karfelt, this isn't the first time they've tried to do this, I recall. This has been a point of contention for quite some time. Naturopathic medicine grows in this state, grows across the country. We have our great champion, Tea Party Bob, who's always talking about this, the idea of preventing illnesses before you have to deal with them with Big Pharma. Your thoughts on what people can do, and if this bill passes, how it impacts them, sir?
Well, right now we have hundreds of naturopathic doctors throughout the state, and what this bill, essence, would do, it would allow licensing for just maybe 10 or so naturopathic doctors, which means that they would then develop pretty much, it's kind of like Walmart moving into a small town, where they develop a competitive edge, which will then push away all the other business owners, and we would lose all that richness of naturopathic doctors throughout the state.
So it would be like one would have a state license, and if you don't, what happens to you? What happens to your patients?
Well, if I don't, then if a patients have a choice in between a naturopathic doctor that has a license versus not a license, and the one with the license that is able to accept insurance, then the choice becomes quite obvious. It's kind of like if you have a choice between Walmart that can then be competitive at prices versus a smaller pops and mom store, then you're going to choose Walmart just because they have a cheap price. And so it's for the other naturopathic doctors out there, it's going to be very hard to compete. So the solution from my point of view is then to create licensing laws that are more inclusive, that would also include these other naturopathic doctors that are out there.
And we're talking about HB 152. When you call your legislators, what would you like people to do, again, radio is about being repetitive. So what would you like people to do if they're just tuning in right now?
It is important that you call your legislator, your representative, your senator, and tell them that you are not in favor of HB 152, because they are there to serve you and they are there to listen to you. And you want to have the choice of natural health care, and you don't want to lose the richness of all the naturopathic doctors that are out there, which in essence that this bill will promote that, in addition to then putting naturopathic medicine under the regulation of the medical board.
Dr. Karfeld, for people like Kevin Miller that kind of know what naturopathic medicine is, they do, but they don't, how is that different from big pharma going to other places, sir?
Well, naturopathic medicine or natural health care, because there's a lot of other modalities out there, and this bill actually will not only impact naturopathic medicine, but it will impact all the different ones that are promoting natural health care. And in essence, what that is to promote safer medicine using vitamins, minerals, herbs, to support the body to heal itself. Like, for instance, if you're dealing with high blood pressure, are there other herbs out there, like do you want to take hawthorn berries, CoQ10, different things that you can do to support your body to lower your blood pressure versus then being on a pharmaceutical medicine that can then have an impact on your liver and your kidneys and then have a long-term negative effect. So it's all about safer medicine, and we just want to preserve that choice.
Indeed. Dr. Michael Karfeld joining us here talking about HB 152. Can we talk about the power of natural medicine compared to stereotypically what we say? We get the script, we go see our friend Charles the pharmacist at Portico Pharmacy, and then we continue that cycle of dependency. Can you talk about the lives that are changed through people that come to you?
Well, I have a fairly large clinic, and I love regular medical medicine as well. I have a medical doctor, I have nurses, I have a medical oncologist on staff. So it is not that I am against pharmaceutical drugs. They have a place, but I feel that they are overplayed. So, for instance, one of the issues we're dealing with is that the antibiotic resistance that we're starting to deal with, and this is because we have an overuse of antibiotics. So as soon as you get an infection, maybe try something that is more natural. And there's like you have oil of oregano, or you have tea tree, or olive leaf, or echinacea, or there's so many different options out there that people can try before they then go for more of the heavy hitters of pharmaceuticals, because there's always a price that comes along with taking a pharmaceutical drug, and sometimes that price is worth it. But let's try something that is safe before you do that. And people that are coming to me, that is what they are looking for. And a lot of people, they've tried the pharmaceutical drugs, and it hasn't worked because it just keeps becoming this repetitive spiral. They take an antibiotic, they get rid of the infection, and then that lowers their immune system, then they get another infection, and they take another antibiotic and then get rid of the infection and so forth until the antibiotic's not working anymore. And then they recognize that why wouldn't I just have gone for a natural alternative that is safer and hit it first with that, and only reserve then the pharmaceutical drugs for when they're really needed.
Dr. Mark Karfeld with us here, Kevin Miller in the Morning, KIDO Talk Radio, talking about HB 152. Dr. Karfeld, you're speaking to the legislators right now. What do you say to them directly, and have any of the people of your profession, the naturopaths, been consulted about this HB 152?
It is something that appeared on the radar just within the last week. So we are trying to get the word out there and get the message out there. I am meeting with legislators and talking to them about the impact it will have on all the business owners, all the naturopathic doctors that are out there throughout the state, and also what it will have, the impact it will have on my profession. It is a rich profession that has been around for thousands of years. And by putting it under a board, a medical board, it will then change the quality of it and then change how we will view it and how we'll be able to practice it. So it will be the impact on the profession, and then also the impact on all the practitioners out there, and then all their patients. Let's say you're in a small town, and then all of a sudden your naturopathic doctor is not available. You will lose that choice for natural health care.
And that's really what it comes down to. When someone comes to you, I would assume sometimes they're at the end of their rope if they've tried all the medicine and everything else, and they're saying, what are my choices?
Yeah, and that is quite frequent. I have patients that are coming, they've gone to 13, 14, 15 other doctors, and they have not been able to find solutions. They might have been put on anti-seizure medications and gone to neurologists and gone to pain management. They're on opiates. They're on, so on and on and on. Just layers of all these different medications. And then they come to me because they are not able to find a solution in the medical arena. And then we need to then backtrack and then step by step see what is really causing this issue. And that is what naturopathic medicine is a lot about, is to look at the underlying factor. Maybe it's a heavy metal toxicity, maybe it's a food sensitivity, maybe it's a nutritional deficiency. You want to look at, there's always a driver that is causing the health issue, and by looking at that, you can then unravel the ailment versus just trying to use a Band-Aid, which is what the pharmaceutical medications are. You're trying to manage the symptom versus looking at the underlying cause.
Let's go to the phones. Holly in Caldwell. Good morning, Holly.
Good morning. I would just like to say that I would like to see absolutely no licensing for naturopathic doctors. I think that this is just the beginning of the FDA trying to regulate substances out that people are using for their health. I have a long history of family that understands ways to care for their body, and I think we can look around and see what the modern day grocery store and what the FDA has done to our health care, and it isn't good. So I encourage everyone to email their legislators and call and get their friends to call and vote no on 152, and also no on Marcy's Law, which is a really bad bill that has been funded with out-of-state money with lots of glossy flyers. That is not what they're claiming that it is. It's backdoor red flag gun laws and other things and red tape. So I would say no on both of those. So.
All right, Holly, thank you for the call. Dr. Karlfeldt, let's get back to this. Is there a way, is there a third way, and you've alluded to it a little, that let's say, hopefully, you're successful, you and everybody else shut down HB 152. Is there a better way to do this? Maybe not the way that this bill is constructed, and would you like to have some type of say in that, some type of insight into coming up with legislation? Is there any needed or not, sir?
Well, when it comes down to it, naturopathic medicine is a safe medicine, which means that the need to regulate it is very, very minimal. If you want to create legislation to approve licensing, you need them to be more inclusive instead of just allowing just one pathway to achieve licensing, which will create disparity within the profession. But at the end of the day, it is an extremely safe medicine. It's all about preventative, restorative, and healing. And you then, I know it's hard for a medical doctor. They always want to regulate because they themselves are actually, according to studies, the third leading cause of death. So I understand that they are nervous about anyone practicing anything that looks like medicine, but naturopathic medicine cannot be equated to medical medicine. It is safe and it's natural.
Let's quickly go to Representative Kingsley, who wants to join us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Great to have you with us, sir. You're on with Dr. Karlfeldt. Good morning.
Great. Yeah, I serve on health and welfare, and I think we're going to hear this bill as far as naturopathic this morning. And I have been getting flooded with emails and phone calls because if we can kill this in committee, it's done. So I really think it's going to get killed this morning. We do have, it's pretty well divided on Health and Welfare Committee. We're pretty much 7-6, and unfortunately it falls in favor of some people that might support this. But I think on this particular bill, we are hearing from the people, and that's really important. So if we can get rid of that this morning, or maybe it's tomorrow morning, I think we've got a good shot at it. But, yeah, I totally am on the side of, let freedom reign. If people, they ought to have the opportunity just to, go to their, this science has been around for a long time. In China, they don't even know about pharma. They constantly are using, herbs and different medicines, and it should be a person's free will to make those choices. So I'm on support of this, and I won't take up a lot of your time, but Just letting you know that the best way to do that is either we get it killed today or contact the Senate, because this will be heard in the Senate as well. And those on the Senate committees are the people that really can make a difference on this. So I hope that helps.
Representative Kingsley, thank you very much. Dr. Carfeld, I know you have to run. Quickly, last word.
Well, I agree with Representative Kingsley. I believe it's actually being heard on Monday, but it may have changed since we spoke to Representative or Chairman Fred Wood, which is a medical doctor, so I can understand his position that he's wanting to drive this forward because he feels like he needs to regulate. But as a citizen, just know that the power is in your hands. It is your choice, and you have the ability to say no, because the representatives and senators, they're out there representing you, and let them know what you feel about this.
Dr. Carfeld, we appreciate you. We'll hear more about this from you soon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And who said local politics is boring? Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO if you want to talk about HB 152. Concerning the idea of this medical board with naturopathic medicine. We'll take your calls on that one. Join the conversation now. Also, taking a look at this issue with the hemp truck. Apparently, a federal judge has said no to the hemp manufacturer or the marijuana transporter, take your pick, that had their truck pulled over, that had their driver arrested. They wanted their hemp back or their marijuana back. Idaho State Police said no. Now, the Idaho State Police, I believe, ISP hasn't released the results of the findings. It really comes down to this, and this is where we hopefully welcome you and differentiate ourselves from everybody in the media. When you're involved in law enforcement, there is no shades of gray. To some degree, I suppose, when it comes to sentencing. It's either right or wrong. And this company came into town, driving through with their smelly drugs, their smelly weed, and they thought they could pull one over on us. And what happened next? ISP pulls them over. They say it's marijuana. They're testing it. The company says it's hemp. And thanks to the new farm bill, they can transport hemp through interstate commerce. ISP says, nope, not so fast. Hemp is illegal in Idaho. And then you have people saying that we need to legalize hemp. What's the harm in hemp? And I have people, very close friends of mine, saying you can get $20,000 or $30,000 an acre. Does anybody really believe that growing hemp you're going to make $30,000 or $40,000 an acre? If that were the case, hemp would be far more productive than marijuana. And thankfully, we have a governor, Governor Little, saying no to drugs. And I agree with him. And our friends at keepidaho.org or Drug Free Idaho, whichever you prefer, are giving us the facts instead of emotion. Look at how emotion played into passing Prop 2. You have the folks in the legislature, when they're not approving a 6% increase in education funding, saying that we don't have any money to pay for the Medicaid expansion. Yet the commercials, what did the commercials say, dear true believer? Hey, we got $40 million or $1 billion of free money from the feds. And look at the federal government with the debt and the deficit. It's crazy. It's kind of like when you get one of those credit cards and they increase the limit. And when you pay it, they go, well, you've got $5,000 more. Woohoo! Except eventually you have to pay for it. Traffic and weather together, then Mike Miniger.
7's are recovered.
And to Mike Miniger, Miniger's Auto Body. Miniger. It must be a banner day for you, sir.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. White gold. White gold. I shouldn't have that attitude, but sitting here in traffic, you know accidents are going to happen. So be careful out there. That's what Wayne DeZubak wants me to say in all my ads. Be careful out there, and I tell him,
well, we would really appreciate your conversations with Wayne, but what can we do for you?
Well, I was thinking about this pot deal, okay? I'm a little mixed up about it. I don't want it here. But I was thinking, if we're able to keep it out of here, it's going to help us keep the liberals out of here. Does that make sense?
I would agree.
In other words, yeah. I mean, most liberals are for, free drugs and all that. So I was sitting there listening to you, and I went, well, I've been a little mixed up about this whole deal because everybody says, hey, it's just a matter of time. I don't know why you're fighting it. Well, that would really help if we could keep some of the liberal thinking out of this state as long as we possibly can.
I agree with
That's
you.
all I got, Chief. That's all I got. I was supposed to go to Lake Havasu today. I'm a traveling man, but what do you think the odds of that are?
Not good, sir. Maybe you'll go to work today. That would be good.
I'm on my way right now.
Thank you for paying your taxes. We appreciate you.
Well, you don't know if I do that.
God bless, Mike Miniger.
Bye.
Bye-bye.